They're up first. Mine, you're good? All right, whenever you guys are ready.
Hi, my name is Miles Patel. I'm the CEO.
Hi, I'm Nico Pastelopoulos, CFO.
I'm Haley Robinson, I'm the head of projects.
I'm Andrew Turk, and I am the CMO.
And we are Fix It Quick. Fix It Quick is a home repair service that connects reliable, certified freelance workers with local homeowners in need of household repairs. So a few years ago in my old house, we were getting our basement floor redone, and my mom hired this company to fix it. And in the end, the job was a complete disaster. There was paint all over the floor, it was peeling, and it was just a total mess. And so when we went back to the company to try to get them to fix their very obvious mistakes, the company not only refused to return, but they also demanded payment anyway. And this is where the heart of our problem lies. Millions of homeowners around the U.S. get ripped off for jobs that are incomplete or not done correctly. And this is after they spend hours upon hours of searching to find a worker that's reliable and certified for the job. And so our solution is Fix It Quick. And here on our website, we connect homeowners to workers in the local area so that you know that the worker coming to your house gets the job done right the first time.
So throughout our MVP stage, we worked without a website. We did it our own. We contacted our own workers. We called them. We texted them, and we found our own customers. We told our customers what makes us unique, and we also told our workers what makes us unique. We find our workers through reviews. This means that they are trustworthy, they are reliable. Homeowners, they love this idea. That's what I think sold them. The bidding is for the workers. This ensures that the homeowners get a fair price and the workers are competitively bidding on the jobs, meaning that they would want to do that job and they would like to do that job on time. The escrow holds the money in a third-party account, meaning that the homeowner does not give the money to the worker, or the worker does not get the money until the job is done and the customer is satisfied. On our website, you would choose if you are a worker or a customer, and you can choose services for the job you would like to have done. There's plumbing, electrical, heating, and AC, all the kinds of home repairs that you would need for a typical house. For the jobs under plumbing, as you can go into detail, there's leak in sinks, leak in the sink, clogged toilet, stuff like that. You can go into specific details for that. Then for the worker, you can bid on the job. This is where our UVP comes into play. This would give the homeowner a fair price to have the job done for him. For our competition, there are a handful of services like us. However, there are local contractors, Angie's List, and Home Advisor. The background checks for locals are very flimsy. They are almost non-existent. And then for Angie's List and Home Advisor, they are not very trustworthy. All of them are time-consuming, as you can see, and due to customer reviews, they are not very trustworthy at all.
And so right now, because we are a smaller company and we don't have a lot of resources, we're targeting less time-sensitive jobs. So that gives us time to contact workers and get more possible bids for the job. And then while it's not necessary, it would be preferred if our target market is 50 plus years old. They are a single working parent because then they generally don't have as much time to look for workers. And they live in a larger house because that means they have more appliances that will need to be repaired in the future.
So with our pricing and financing, we found on Census.gov that the average home improvement job is $500. So through our surveys that we conducted first semester, we initially had a markup of 15%, but through the surveys we found out that that was too expensive. In order to be more competitive, we lowered it down to 10% markup for us to make money, giving us a revenue per unit on average of $50. So for our cost, our gross profit margin is actually extremely high, and the reason for this is because we are a service. We are the middleman. We are connecting homeowners with reliable freelance workers. So our cost of goods sold is only $1.20, and this is basically just transaction fees, giving us a gross profit margin of 97.6%. So for our first year serviceable addressable market, we were going to market towards the Barrington area. So what we mean by this is all the Barrington, so North Barrington, South Barrington, Lake Barrington, etc. And so we found on info.usa that this is approximately 10,000 homes that we'll be marketing towards for our first year. For frequency of home improvement jobs, we found during our first semester interviews that we conducted that the average home, the homeowner goes through four home improvement jobs a year, and in order to get And so somebody that Miles' father, who is who builds homes for a living, said that this was a number that was reliable, that 4 home improvement jobs per home on average. Okay, so for our first year, our serviceable addressable market, we got up to $2 million, and the reason why it's $2 million is because 10,000 homes in Barrington, multiplied by the frequency of 4 home improvement jobs a year, multiplied by $50, guys, that. And we believe we can attain 1% of this market. The reason why it's so low is because we are new to the industry. It's a very competitive industry, and also it's just an estimate that we just put down. So for our first year revenue, that gets us to $20,000. Our market size, so for our gross profit, as I said, it's extremely high, so it would be $19,500, so we'd be losing $500. Our number of units sold would be 400, and the reason for this is because we're going to be attaining only 100 homes in the Barrington area, if that 1% is accurate. And so that multiplied by the 4 home improvement jobs a year, that was 400 jobs for our first year. And so our SG&A costs, this has to do basically with advertising, marketing, and legal and insurance. And so this would cost us $5,600 for our first year. So for our 5-year projections, as you can see, we believe we're going to grow exponentially. And the reason for this is because we're going to expand to more towns, the neighboring towns of Barrington. We're not just going to stay in Barrington for our second, third, fourth, fifth year, but we're going to expand to other towns. And we believe if we expand, if we market towards more homes, that we will be able to grow.
So for our MVP, in place of the website, we did a lot of the things manually. So we had a landing page that we could direct our customers to. For the escrow, we would have just done that manually ourselves, so we would have just held the money until the job was complete. For the competitive bidding, we were going to set up different group chats and email threads where the workers could then bid against each other. And for the zero tolerance policy, we implemented that to ensure customer satisfaction. For the number of workers we hired, we cold called 100 workers, and of those workers, we converted 27. And although that number may seem low, this process was very time-consuming and took in upwards of 20 minutes. We also attended the Family Expo where we had a booth and we were able to talk to several hundred customers. We were then able to collect 38 customer emails and compile a mailing list. And for the number of jobs we completed, we were approached with several different jobs. However, we were yet to complete a job, and that is mainly due to the large scope of work being too big for our current workload. This is one of the potential jobs we were approached with. The customer just cleaned it out with bleach, and when they turned it on, they realized that water was pouring out through the ceiling speaker. And although this may seem like a simple plumbing job, this is now an electrical job, a drywall repair job, and a painting job. And we realized that the scope of this work was too big for our worker pool. With our MVP funds, we spent those on marketing. So we had 1,000 custom printed door hangers, and we distributed those within the Barrington area. And we also spent money on Google AdWords, which we ran for 2 months. However, that wasn't as effective, and we feel that's attributed to us not having a professional website. In terms of other advertising, we're still talking to Quintessential Barrington and the Daily Herald. We narrowly missed out on their spring edition, but we're targeting to have a story in their summer edition. And we're still continuing to market on Facebook and target different groups that fit our target market. In terms of marketing to workers, we have flyers posted at Ace Hardware, prompting workers to sign up for our service, and we also have ads posted on Indeed.com. In conclusion, we found from our MVP that the customer demand is evident, and this was exemplified through the several different jobs we received. We also found that we need to rapidly expand our worker pool in order to effectively complete the competitive bidding. And lastly, we found that this solution is marketing driven, meaning that we need to drive both customers and workers towards our site to complete the solution. In terms of uses of capital, we have startup costs of $22,000, and that is comprised of a website, umbrella insurance, marketing costs, and then legal consultation fees. We also have a maximum cumulative loss in our first year, and in case that's underestimated, we have a liquidity cushion. In total, we need $31,000. In exchange for $31,000, we're proposing 16% stake in our company, giving us a post-money valuation of $194,000. Our exit strategy after 5 years is to sell to strategic buyers such as HomeAdvisor. We recently acquired Angelus in 2015, which would make that feasible. got home repairs, we're here to fix it quick. Thank you.
You say the one job was beyond your capabilities, I mean, it was plumbing and painting and electrical, and you list those as capabilities.
Yeah, so our worker pool is too small within those categories for us to effectively bid, meaning we wouldn't be able to carry out the bidding process as we would like to. So there would only be like 3 or 4 workers bidding on it, which would mean the pricing wouldn't be as accurate as we would like.
You probably have to have 3 different people sitting on it, right?
Yeah, but the thing is also some of those workers might not have time availability, so they're not all bidding on this job,
And
if that makes sense.
also for that job, we had a group of plumbers and other workers signed up. We called them asking if they would be available to bid on it. And many of them said, only one of them, I believe, replied
Yeah.
that they could. However, the others said that they were busy. This just shows that we need more workers, more people, and we just need to be able to reach out to those people to get the job done.
That's why your business is needed, because it's a really pain in the neck to get people interested in getting competitive bids. And when you guys had the perfect opportunity of sitting in the seat of your customer, of can't get anyone to bid, I need 3 different contractors, it's complex, you guys bailed. You have to work on a solution that would have fixed that for the customer. That's the whole reason somebody's gonna pay you 10%, is to quarterback that, find competitive bids, find qualified folks, and it's going to take a lot of work. The initial solution of saying, gosh, I just need to have a lot of workers in my system so I can solve for that, I think you're gonna find that that's not gonna be your initial solution. Your initial solution is going to have to be kind of a concierge MVP, that you're gonna have to recruit workers around the particular client's need. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so not necessarily get a large group of workers, but more specified to certain jobs.
Yeah, you're gonna have to kind of general contract it for your customers at the beginning. Your first 2 or 3 jobs, don't expect that you're gonna have this, great database of all these vendors that are just ready, willing, and able to say, I'll do it. It's like, no, that's just not the case. But I'm not sure if I completely understand. I think I understand the model. You're trying to tackle 3 things at once. 1, you're trying to get workers. 2, you're trying to get enough workers so you can do a competitive bid. And then 3, you're trusting that this escrow thing will work. When you pick the workers, are you guys promising to the user, like you're going to curate them all, meaning you're going to look at their reviews, you're going to get reference checks, you're going to check if they have insurance, you're going to
Yeah.
make sure they have the right certification?
Yes.
Okay.
Because a main source of the workers a main source that we use to find the workers is an app called Nextdoor. Many neighborhoods use it, and it's where a lot of people ask others for recommendations on workers they know or have used before. And those workers, like the workers that we've called and have signed up so far, those 20 or so workers, they have been highly recommended on that site. They're like on the top of the search list if you search plumbers,
So
electricians.
what did you do to those 27 to make sure that they qualified to be on your website?
So we asked them if they had workers' comp, which is one of the insurances, and general liability. And then for things like electrical jobs or plumbing, we also asked them if they have licensing. And then once we confirm if they have the job, then we'll actually check and make sure that they have it. And verify.
Aren't there like, websites that you can check people's,
Yeah, you can check the insurance online.
not so much that, but I mean, the quality of work that they do,
Reviews.
they're
Yeah, we've also looked at them through a number of other sites, like Angie's List. We've looked up some of the workers and seen their reviews, and they're all pretty good.
I want to go back to your MVP with the advertising. What was your objective? And what were you trying to solve for with the door hangers and the other advertising?
So it was mainly to see, for the door hangers, just to spread the word, and within the first 2 weeks we received 5 calls, which may seem low, but home repairs are also untimely and abrupt, so we thought it was pretty successful.
What came with the 5 calls?
One of the guys just said he had a list of properties and he might need future repairs. Actually the jacuzzi job was from that. We had a staining job that someone called us with, and a few other people who were interested in
And
future
then did
use.
you get no response from the workers?
Yeah, we were unable to match it. And also the staining job was time sensitive, so they had already filled it.
Yeah, that could be part of the problem. I think you get, high quality, good, reliable plumber or electrician, they're gonna be busy, they're gonna have jobs. So, you know that better than him.
That's what I don't understand. I mean, you guys worked really hard on this. This is a really good presentation. It's a huge need. You advertised, you literally had people call you, and then you didn't follow through on the solution because it was hard or something. Like, why didn't you just, like, hey, we got 5 customers here. I'm going to start dialing for dollars and calling contractors and figuring it out. I'm gonna get 3 of them, and I'll try the bid process, or even if I can't get them to bid, I'm gonna at least introduce one of them to this customer and try to solve their problem. I don't know why that didn't happen. And I think if we're gonna invest in you guys, which is this is a very investable idea, we need you to self-reflect and say, what did we learn from that, and here's what we would do different, or prove to us that you're going to break that hurdle down, because you're going to have that every single time. In your first 100 orders, it's not going to run perfectly.
I think personally, we just relied on the workers' availability too much, if anything. Like, that's where I think the major flaw in our system was.
Yeah.
Also, like you mentioned earlier about just having the job and then trying to find workers, we attempted to do that, but we also couldn't find workers that were insured and licensed. And all the ones that we did find were tied up with other work. So all the good workers, obviously there's demand for that, and we found that challenging with time sensitive.
So that's what you got to fix.
Do any of your competitors, Angie's List and Nextdoor, do they have a bidding process, or are they just connecting consumers with the workers?
They do not. So Angie's List is more so, you type in your problem and then it recommends like a list of workers, so the workers are paying to be on the site. And with Angie's List, they connect you to a worker. They don't have any sort of bidding process. It just gives you a list of workers.
And as you can see, for Angie's List, you can pay higher to appear higher on a search list. So that means even if you're appear higher, you might not be the most trustworthy worker. You could just be paying the most money into that website.
Have you looked at as something where if you can if you have like these different tasks that are relatively simple tasks that you could get the contractors to bid on? If they bid and they're the winning bid, they get some piece of the payment that's put up so that their bid is legitimate. They're not only bidding cost, but they're bidding time. They're bidding, I can do this job within 4 days or within a certain window of time.
We haven't looked into that, but we'll definitely reflect on that and look into implementing that in the future.
And also part of our bidding process is that the highest bid doesn't always win. You get the list of bids from all the workers, and then based on their time availability and their rating, you get to choose which worker you would prefer to have come to your home.
Usually the customer does that.
Yeah, the customer does.
Did you get far enough along to understand, like, if I'm a contractor and I'm responding to an order and then you're asking me to bid on it, I don't know, I just don't even have enough information to put a bid together. Like, I don't know what I'm walking into, I don't know the scope of the problem. A leaky faucet could be a lot of different things. So, now what you could bid is what's your hourly rate, and do you mark up equipment, and you can at least know that, hey, this person's $100 an hour, and this person's $90 an hour. You just don't know how many hours it's going to take. I think it's going to be hard to do the bid, but if you guys can come up with a list of really, really qualified workers, and you can get customers, I don't even think you need the bidding process to make this viable. You could say, hey, we're your go-to source for Blue Star contractors, and we vetted them all, And, you know, if you give us the job, we will get one of our Blue Star contractors to you in a timely fashion. And whoever pays you the 10%, the contractor might pay you the 10%, the customer may pay you the 10%.
Last question.
It's a really good point, because, you know, just the jacuzzi example alone, you know, nobody's gonna go online and bid that. They're gonna have to go to the house and take a look at it.
So that was actually brought up to us before the MVP stage. So we were actually looking to having a quoter actually go out and specify the parts needed, what's wrong with it, because oftentimes homeowners don't know what's wrong with it. Since we didn't have the funds to do that for the MVP stage, we're going to try and do it without, but in the long term, we'd like to implement something like that.
I think Mike's point is a good one. You know, forget the bidding process, just to get a bunch of certified good vendors that can go in and fix a job, and you're gonna pull that vendor and put them in touch with the customer.
Generation 2, 3 years from now, might incorporate bidding when you have scale and reputation, and generation 2 or 3 might include the escrow concept. Like, those are really good ideas that you can, but I think it's gonna be a lot of execution risk to do all of those on your first generation. Like, you found it just hard enough to get, you got a job, that was good, you got 5 jobs. And you didn't get, and you had some contractors, but you didn't have the right contractors, and the MVP failed just with those 2 moving parts. You can execute on both of those effectively, but bidding and escrow is tough at the beginning. Get scale and you can do that.
Excellent, thank you guys.
Thanks.